Hello everybody, welcome back to Treetop Tales ASMR. Today I'm going to be giving you my take on Peaky Blinders, the Immortal Man film. There will be a lot of spoilers in this video, so if you haven't seen it already, I suggest turning off this video if you plan to watch it. If you have already seen it, then feel free to watch. And yeah. In the ashes of war-torn Birmingham, the past refuses to stay buried. Peaky Blinders, the Immortal Man, directed by Tom Harper, is a sweeping crime drama set during the turmoil of the Second World War. It leans heavily into themes of legacy, grief, and the burden of personal change in a world that is quite literally collapsing around its characters. What makes this film particularly compelling is not just its wartime setting, but the way it uses the chaos as a mirror for the internal struggles of its central figures. At the center of the story is Tommy Shelby, a man who is no longer the calculated gang leader audiences once knew, but instead a deeply reflective and haunted individual attempting to live in solitude. He spends much of the film writing his autobiography, which acts as both a narrative device and as a window into his psyche. However, this attempt at peace is constantly disturbed by the emotional weight he carries. The death of his brother Arthur Shelby lingers heavily over him, and even more striking are the recurring visions of his daughter, Ruby. These moments blur the line between reality and psychological torment, suggesting that no matter how far Tommy tries to distance himself from the past, it continues to follow him. While Tommy withdraws, the world around him does not stand still. Ada Shelby steps into a position of political responsibility as the Member of Parliament for Birmingham South. Her role represents a shift in the Shelby family dynamic, moving from criminal influence to institutional power. Through Ada, the film explores the struggle of maintaining stability in the city that is being torn apart by the 1940 Birmingham Blitz. Her storyline adds a grounded, almost civic perspective to the narrative, contrasting sharply with Tommy's introspective isolation. At the same time, Duke Shelby emerges as one of the most intriguing elements of the film. He is the ambitious, unpredictable, and clearly driven by a desire to step out of his father's shadow. His arc is defined by the tension between inheritance and independence. He wants to become something in his own right, but the legacy of Tommy Shelby looms too large to ignore. The performance behind Duke captures this conflict effectively, presenting a character who is both determined and unstable. There are moments where this portrayal feels slightly unfocused, as though the character's emotional direction becomes blurred, but in many ways, this also reflects the chaos within him. The central conflict is driven by John Beckett, a Labour Party MP turned Nazi agent. His plan flood the British economy with counterfeit currency introduces a layer of political tension that expands the scope of the film beyond personal drama. This is no longer just a story about one family, but about a nation under threat from within. Beckett's presence is particularly effective because he represents a different kind of enemy, one rooted in ideology and subversion rather than brute force. His ominous introduction is one of the film's most memorable visual moments, immediately establishing him as a figure of quiet but dangerous authority. As the narrative unfolds, Tommy is inevitably drawn back into Birmingham, unable to remain detached from the events shaping his world. His involvement in secret wartime missions adds an espionage element that complements the film's darker tone. Yet, even in these moments of action and strategy, the story never loses sight of its emotional core. Tommy is not just fighting external enemies, he is constantly confronting his own past decisions, his regrets, and the question of whether he is capable of change. One of the most interesting aspects of the film is its use of supporting characters to influence the direction of the story in subtle but meaningful ways. Gualo, the sister of Tommy's late partner, Zelda, is a particularly striking example. As a palm reader, she exists on the edge of realism, almost embodying a supernatural presence within the narrative. She rarely dominates scenes, yet her influence is undeniable. Moments such as the unexplained reappearance of Ruby's scarf in Tommy's office create a suspense of unease, and suggesting that Tommy's past is not only psychological, but perhaps something more intangible and inescapable. Paolo also plays a role in shaping Duke's decisions, subtly guiding him at key points in the story. These interactions may seem minor on the surface, but they have a profound impact on the choices made by both characters in the final act. Another supporting character who leaves a strong impression is Hayden Stagg. His eventual alliance with Tommy during the climactic confrontation is one of the film's most satisfying moments. What makes it particularly effective is the tension that precedes it. There is a lingering uncertainty about where his loyalties lie, and this ambiguity keeps the audience engaged. When he does choose to stand alongside Tommy, it feels earned rather than predictable, adding weight to the final conflict against Beckett and the pro-Nazi agents. There is a lingering uncertainty about where his loyalties lie, and this ambiguity keeps the audience engaged. When he does decide to stand alongside Tommy, it feels earned rather than predictable, adding weight to the final conflict against Beckett and the pro-Nazi agents. In terms of pacing, the film strikes a balance that is mostly effective, though not without its flaws. The interweaving of multiple character arcs allows for a rich and layered narrative, but it also creates moments where the story feels rushed. The transitions between perspectives can sometimes lack the necessary breathing room, making certain developments feel less impactful than they could have been. A slightly longer runtime or more deliberate pacing in these sections might have allowed each storyline to fully resonate. Visually, however, the film is consistently impressive. The cinematography captures the bleakness of wartime Birmingham with striking clarity, using lighting and composition to reinforce the tone of despair and uncertainty. The settings feel authentic and immersive, grounding the story in its historical context. Scenes depicting the aftermath of the Birmingham Blitz are particularly effective, stands out as a key visual moment, using framing and atmosphere to immediately establish his presence as a looming threat. Sound design also plays a crucial role in shaping the film's emotional trajectory. The story begins with a relatively calm and reflective tone, mirroring Tommy's attempt at solitude, but gradually builds in intensity as the narrative progresses. This escalation is handled carefully, with music and sound cues enhancing the tension without overwhelming the scenes. By the time the film reaches its explosive final sequence in the factory, the audio elements have carefully aligned with the narrative's sense of urgency and chaos. At its core, the film is driven by its exploration of themes such as redemption, legacy, and the evolving relationship between father and son. The dynamic between Tommy and Duke is central to this, providing an emotional anchor for the story. Their relationship is complex, shaped by distance, expectation, and misunderstanding. This tension ultimately culminates in one of the film's most significant moments, when Duke is faced with the choice of whether to kill his father. His decision not to do so marks a turning point, not only for his character, but for the narrative as a whole. It represents a rejection of the cycle of violence and a step toward a more selfless way of thinking. For viewers who are already familiar with Peaky Blinders, the film offers a rewarding continuation of the story, building on established relationships and themes. However, for those who are new to this world, the experience may feel slightly overwhelming at times. While the film does take an effort to remain accessible, a lack of background context can make certain characters' dynamics harder to fully appreciate. This contributes to the sense that some aspects of the story are moving too quickly. Despite these minor shortcomings, the film does succeed in delivering an emotionally engaging and visually striking experience. It captures the essence of what has made the Peaky Blinders story so compelling, while also pushing its characters into a new and challenging territory. The combination of strong performances, atmospheric visuals, and meaningful thematic exploration ensures that the film remains engaging from beginning to end. By the time the story reaches its conclusion, there is a clear sense of emotional resolution. Tommy's journey, while far from simple, feels like it has come full circle. Duke's transformation adds a sense of hope, suggesting that change is possible, even in the darkest of circumstances. The final moments leaving a lasting impression, balancing the weight of the past with the possibility of a different future. Overall, Peaky Blinders, The Immortal Man stands as a compelling and thoughtful continuation of the story. It may struggle at times with pacing and the demands of juggling multiple character arcs, but these issues do little to overshadow its strengths. The film offers a powerful exploration of identity, family, and redemption, set against one of the most turbulent periods in history, making it both an engaging watch and a meaningful addition to the Peaky Blinders legacy. A strong and memorable entry, it earns a solid 7 out of 10. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. I hope you do feel calm, relaxed, and at ease after listening. I really enjoyed making this video after watching Peaky Blinders, The Immortal Man. Overall, I really enjoyed watching it. Like I mentioned, I've never watched the TV series. The TV show, I've never watched it. And at first, the film was a little bit hard to follow, but I had some context of the show before watching the film. My favorite character, I would say, is the cameo from. It's not so much a cameo, but they had a short appearance in Stephen Graham's character, the king of the Liverpool Dogs, I think they called him. But yeah, I really enjoyed his cameo. But yeah, if you did enjoy the video, you are very welcome to leave a like. Let me know down below if you have seen the film. If you have, let me know your leave a comment to your favorite character in the film or even the show. Again, if you did enjoy the video, feel free to subscribe. It really does help my channel grow. And I'll be back very soon with some more gentle, relaxing content for you. But until next time, take care and sleep well.